Alright everybody, round 2.5 of the Spec banner. They did change it from the original release, so I shouldn't be surprised, but I also uploaded the last video last night, so I didn't have enough time this morning before work to change things when things had gone awry. So we're going to go in-game this time. So, Vanguard Grimoire, Sword of Love and Hate is not on it. I would assume that's because probably you could buy it earlier. So the replacement sword is False Victor. It's a tier 4 wave of destruction, so it's massive damage to one enemy. It has a tier 2 physical debuff. The stats on that one are as follows. I'll flash them up on the screen real quick for you. If I can find them. Where are you? There she is. Alright, so you kind of have the same problem with stats on this one that you did the other. You've got 1800 physical attack, but the rest of the stats are kind of sloppy, especially the physical defense. Like, that one's crazy low for a sword. The stats are the same-ish. You're only a little off. I think the ability is better. I think overall this is a better sword. The hammer remains the same. It is the Hammer of End Times. So you've got 4096 stats, you've got 1700. Wow, those are almost identical, if not identical. Are they identical? That would be weird if they were. Yep, they're pretty much the same. That's kind of crazy. So, I guess the DPS banner got slightly better with ability. The stats are still kind of mediocre. So, that's kind of a pull on if you want, but be careful. Like, if you already have either of these, obviously skip it. And free-to-play players, free-to-play DPS specifically, you know, use your best judgment. Everybody that's free to play has to kind of play a little bit of catch up at some point. So you don't want to put a lot of effort into banners that you may not be getting a lot out of. The Tome Spec banner is actually the same as the original one. So I'll just pull that one back up. So you've got Tome of Absolution and Knight's Diary. So Knight's Diary is actually pretty good. Even with the stats being 4100, the ability and support boon 2 on it are very strong. I would definitely, if you are a sorcerer and you are mad you haven't had a banner for a little while, you might want to throw some coins into the machine for this one. Tome of Absolution is fine. Like, you're not running into too many gunners, so magical attack debuff isn't crazy, and not a lot of people are running paladins, so like, there are better slots, especially considering, like, the stats on it are only sort of mediocre currently. So, book banner, sorcerer banner, Knight's Diary, real good, but you do have the Tome of Absolution also there on rate up, which is fine, I guess. It's decent. If you're gonna chase anything, chase the diary, but don't go too deep on this one. We're supposed to be getting some support banners in the upcoming weeks, especially with like our collab finally running out. So keep an eye on it. Try to plan. Obviously, as soon as we know what banners are coming up, we try to post them. So try to keep an eye out so we can give you a better idea of, you know, what banner to sort of go ham on. All right, we have a different staff in this banner though, which was really interesting because I did not know. So we have Irreconcilable Enemy, which is a very, very good staff. And you have Naive Miracle, which is also pretty good. So let me put both of these up in the DB so you can sort of see them. So this is Naive Miracle at 80. It's 4100 stats. You use defense to heal, so like the extra attack on here is kind of useless. But Healing Light 4 is pretty good, and Replenish Magic on it, it's decent. This is actually a pretty good staff. It's not as good as Irreconcilable Enemy, but that's also kind of a standard I would agree with. You heal 2 allies at a tier 3, which is a great amount. The attack debuff sucks, but you're not really using this one. Guaranteed 2 heals is strong. Having your work, or halving your work in halving, you know what I mean. Doing half the work for twice the output is pretty good for the most part. Guaranteed 2 heals, 2 buffs, 2 attacks tend to edge out others. So for the most part, clerics, this is a pretty decent banner for you guys. Like, I actually like this one. And I do want to say out loud, I do understand that a lot of times, especially with these early banners, I am being a little lukewarm on stats. This is more to caution free-to-play players. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I'm not hyping these staffs up if we're going to get something better in 3 weeks. Like, obviously the stuff that comes out later is better. I don't want people to wait for endgame, because then you're costing yourself, like, base number stats. But pulling on shitty banners when we're going to get, like, if you already have a decent amount of stabs, I wouldn't pull on these. Same thing for the books, same thing for the DPS. Like, they are just not good enough to keep up currently, especially considering most of the collab weapons are almost at 5k, if not higher. And eventually you just don't want to invest a lot of resources into weapons that are immediately going to come out of your grid, or at least shortly come out of your grid, because we all did that at the beginning. We mismanaged our resources, and things got a little wild now, because now we're kind of scrambling. So, honest opinion, should you pull DPS? Less so. Rear guard, you're 50, or sorcerer, you're 50-50. If you can get that Knight's Diary, you are real good off. The Tome of Absolution is kind of mediocre. The Cleric banner is pretty good. The stats are subpar, but the abilities more than make up for it. So if you feel like I need some extra staffs, this is probably a good chance for you to reach up and try to get some more. We are expecting more support banners this month, or the upcoming month is what I should say, so keep an eye out, check the database. We're trying to figure out what's coming up next, but as soon as it does, you'll know, because we're going to put it out for you, although we may not do as many day before should you summons, just in case there are massive changes. We don't expect the regular job banners to change, but the spec banners definitely are apparently being looked at. So that is it for me. Sorry about the video from earlier. I just decided that it was smarter to scrap it and do things proper than to leave it up. So like, comment, subscribe, yell at me for taking the other one. He was wrong! And you guys have a good one.